Now it's time for What If It Exploded, hosted by Lloyd.
Been a long time.
Sure has, Red.
You got a spicy chicken sandwich. But here, try this.
Not bad.
And this has been What If It Exploded, hosted by me, Lloyd.
Looking for a personalized video request? Can't find anyone else to do it? Well, then come see me. Head over to our Cameo page where you can get yourself a birthday shout out for either you or a friend, get a personalized message, ask questions, plenty of options. All of that over at cameo.com/thecinemasnob. Hope to see you there.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm still laughing at the image of the Lloyd would have exploded Wendy's ad. So we were actually talking about that commercial. I mean, it was probably in the Wendy's chicken sandwich episode where I was like, oh yeah, I remember the spicy chicken sandwich commercial from Wendy's where like Dave Thomas was meeting with I guess like a mafia kingpin who does experiments and deals in chicken sandwiches, and they had a spicy chicken sandwich off, like, I don't know, sort of like the end of The Deer Hunter or something, or like the alternate ending to Die Hard with a Vengeance where they're playing chicken with a rocket launcher, only it's, again, a chicken sandwich, so let's make it even deadlier and have it explode in front of him. Oh, mine's better, Dave Thomas. It's laced with C4 and tomatoes and mayonnaise, of course. Ooh, I don't want to drink this right now because, well, if any of you are, still have that stupid commercial. If any of you are here tuning in to see the cats, Bert and Pearl, they're not going to be joining us on this one. Although you might be able to hear them on the other side of the door over there. Decided to keep them out there since this is a hot sauce episode. Not that I think they would be getting into the hot sauce, because they don't eat what we eat. They have no interest in it. Although sometimes they're cats. Sometimes they have an interest in the glass of water sitting on the table. Not so much that Pearl wants to drink it necessarily. More, she just kind of wants to sniff it and stick her paw in it. Then she'll decide whether or not she wants to knock it off the table. But I don't want to risk the cats getting into the Smokin Reaper. Oh, say hi to we got our friends here in the chat as well. Say hi to Jared, he's in there. My friend Kermit Wazowski's in there. Narcoleptic Chihuahua Productions is in there. People like it when we do the hot sauce episodes. That's why I have cases of this sitting around. I've had this for a while. It's always like break in case of not anything new for Brad Tries, because people like the hot sauces and they like the older expired foods as well. The 30-year-old mac and cheeses, the 30-year-old sodas, they like those. I should get my hand. I should look into getting some more old cereal. But I do have the extreme heat hot sauces right here from Pepper Palace, and one of them, all three of them have fantastic names, but I was like, oh, let me just pick one of these up. Smokin Reaper. All right, that's a safe enough cover too. I remember there was one time I did a Brad Tries on one of the Pepper Palace hot sauces. It was one of the ass-based ones, not that they were made with someone's ass. That ass comes into it after you've tried it. No, it was like, I don't remember, the Keister Killer or something. I don't remember, but it did have a guy with his ass hanging out on the bottle. There was probably fire coming out. He was probably clutching for dear life at the toilet. And I posted that episode, and it's still, whatever episode that was, it's still public. But the original thumbnail I had for it either got rejected or I had to do an appeal when it got like hit with limited ads or something like that, because I'm so used to that happening with Cinema Snob episodes. Not Brad tries. No, it was because of this cartoon ass, and again, fire coming out of it, and the guy looking very uncomfortable that he had an ass hot sauce. So this one, it's just a skull with a cigar. So that's cool. I had to do a hot sauce one on this episode because I feel really bad about last week. Last week we did one. It was the Popeyes ghost pepper wings. I remember the 30-year-old mac and cheese and the 30-year-old Batman cereal. It's more like 34 years old now. Still sitting on the mantelpiece in there and still full except for a couple of handfuls. But no, last week I had to think about it. I was like, all right, the Popeyes wings. Okay. I feel bad because I reviewed them and they tasted good because I love Popeyes and they tasted like what you'd think Popeyes wings would taste like. But in terms of the spice, I did kind of react like Dave Thomas in that commercial at the beginning of the episode where I was like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. Although, I mean, it didn't explode in my face, but other than that, I reacted just like Dave Thomas did. And then, so it was like very mild, like it was kind of fast food chicken sandwich mild. And then the next afternoon, I had it for lunch when I was sitting there editing. And so I stick them in the microwave, heated them up, went back to the computer, started editing, took a bite out of one, and something about waiting a day and putting it in the microwave made it about not 100 times spicier, but maybe like 10 times spicier, significantly spicier. And it wasn't that it was cold when I had it on here. It's just you give it a day and stick it in the microwave. You might reach for your drink a couple times like I did. It was way hotter than again what I was describing on that episode. It was hotter than a regular chicken sandwich. It was about what would I compare it to in terms of fast food? It was a little hotter than that ghost pepper Wendy's chicken sandwich, but it did have a kick. Like I was able to eat them and edit, but I was taking a drink every time I would take a bite. So I feel bad. It's like I disrespected them a little bit. Again, stick them in the microwave. That'll elevate the spices a little bit. So I'm like, I'll make up for it. I'll go in my in case of emergency hot hot sauce container, which I guess the emergency in this case is disrespecting Popeyes wings. Again, they are good. You should try them. So I'm like, Smokin Reaper. I'll do that. This is the same container that had Mr. Payne in it, and I did. I guess it shows you how long I've had this set. So I think I did that a while ago. That was at least one. That was at least one snob set ago. So it's from that same set. I remember having a pretty good reaction to Mr. Payne. So we'll see how the Smokin Reaper turns out. Get your super chat questions in there too, because once I get through all my rambling and trying the hot sauce, we'll answer all of your super chat questions and comments. And I see that there's some already in there, and we'll be promoting some stuff in a bit too. But I know that this will be, even if this is the spiciest thing I've ever had, which I don't think it will be. It's not going to be spicier than the one chip challenge or something like that. But it won't be the, I guess, most intense part of my day. Only because I had to go to the DMV earlier. It was high time I get my my ID finally updated. Was I sure, I don't go out very much, so I could get by a little bit without it. But I'm like, well, I do have a baby on the way. I should go ahead and get the ID updated and everything. And also, I was just procrastinating because I didn't want to go to the DMV. But you can make appointments at our DMV. So I did that. I was like, oh, okay. Well, here, let me click on this. All right, I'll go in there at 8:30 in the morning, get it all taken care of. That was how I spent my morning, except for I was editing 1983 in film a little bit earlier, so it kind of went, edit this portion on Smokey and the Bandit Part 3, then I'll go to the DMV. What would I rather do? Watch Smokey and the Bandit 3 or go to the DMV? I guess I'll go ahead and go to the DMV. In case I get into a car chase because of the Enos brothers, I'll need some ID on me. So, even if you have an appointment set up, you will be standing in multiple lines. So I get there, and she said, right, there's already someone at the front door. She's like, do you have an appointment? I'm like, oh, yeah, it's at 8:30. She's like, okay, stand in this line over here. I do. I'm standing in the line for a little bit. Not terribly long, but for a little bit. I get up to the counter, like, what are you here for? I'm like, oh, I need to update my ID, get it renewed and everything. And she's like, oh, okay, do you have some paperwork? I'm like, yeah, here it is. She's like, okay, all right. You go over there, stand in front of the camera. I'm like, thank you. I make sure to be very, very nice, too, because I don't want the TV employees to yell at me for, like, not doing anything. So be very nice. It's a lot of like, hey, how's it going? Oh, thank you. Over here? Okay, great, thanks. Oh yeah, here's what you need right here. Is that going? Awesome. How's your day going? Stuff like that. So I go over to where the camera is, and there's the guy. He's like, hi, I'm here. Do I stand over here? Do I take my glasses and hat off and everything? Great. So he was like fairly nice to me and everything. So the key is to just speak with a kind of happy voice, I guess, because the two people who came up behind me when I was standing up at the camera desk, the two people who came up behind me, they didn't even get a chance to get a happy sounding voice out. He was already mad at them. The guy was like, you two over there, step back, go over there. So like, I'm like, ooh, make sure you, I don't know, speak with a happy tone of voice like I did. I should say that, but they didn't even get a chance to say anything before this guy got mad at him. So I got my picture taken. I figure like, oh, okay, well, I guess I may be done here or something. I'll get that in the mail. No, we need you to go sit over there, take a number, and you'll be called up there at the other window. So I take a number, sitting down, waiting for the other window, get called up there. It's kind of the same process as the other two, except minus getting the picture taken, but it was sort of showing the same paperwork and everything. And again, I already think I'm done, and they're like, okay, well, now you need to go this is all taken care of, this information I put in there. Now we need you to go over to the other line over there. That's the cashier line. Oh, okay. So it's like, once I think I'm out, they pull me back in. Really, it wasn't that bad. I wasn't there long. I've heard people who were there for like 3-4 hours and a better part of their day. It wasn't that. It was just standing in about 5 more extra lines than I thought I would be. And then coming back to our neighborhood, where lately it's been an action movie here, because it's a fairly busy enough block here, and there's a lot of foot traffic on one particular corner. And on that particular corner, especially since it's an area of the sidewalk I use a lot because it's in my direction to the store when I'm walking down to the store or to grab a snack, soda, something to take to the movie theater. So over on that particular corner, there's some kind of like charity set up for, what is it? It's something, I think it's something to do with the environment. Something to do with the environment. And one time Laura and we were going on our walk. One of them came up to us, and it is sort of like being approached in a shopping mall, like where you're approached and immediately it's very hard to get out of this conversation. So I forget what the organization is, but they're all wearing matching t-shirts. They have their table set up, and it is this like payment plan type donation thing. So the lady is there, and again, you're listening, but you're also kind of waiting for an opening to where you can jump in and say, okay, I got some cash on me. Does this work? So it's me and Laura standing there kind of listening to this, waiting for an opening. Eventually, Laura is like, so you want some money? And I'm like, oh, I'm sitting there going, oh yeah, I got some cash on me. We've got groceries in our hands too. So then the lady goes, oh, well, it's not so much that we take cash now. It's more this monthly plan and everything. And so immediately both of us are like, we got groceries. We got stuff to do. And then we go back over to our place. So ever since then, it is like just this game of avoiding that block, which is hard because it's a common pathway that I go on. Jared was here. We were recording some midnight screenings one afternoon. We went to the store to grab again some soda or something. We're walking back, and immediately I look up, and it's like the same like stop and wide-eyed as if I'd seen like my high school girlfriend or something like that, or like just some kind of ex or something. Like, do I cross over here? And so we kind of veer earlier than the where the intersection is, and go across the street, but they saw me and they're like, "Oh, hey, do you have a minute?" And I'm like, "Oh, we talked yesterday." And then the reaction of the person was, "Well, that's yesterday. Today's a different day." I'm like, yeah, okay. The old Tuesday's a different day than Monday trick. I ain't falling for that one again. Fool me once with your date logic. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And I keep walking. And ever since that, it is just, I see them, and you just jaywalk in the middle of the street. Because it's like the whole thing is like a setup to a game of Frogger, where you're then kind of veering through traffic that's not the crosswalk or the intersection, because you don't want to get stuck in this conversation for a really, really long time. So it's like, yeah, I know I'm dodging traffic right here. I know this is like sort of dangerous what I'm doing. I might get hit with a car. This is a prime setup for that camera angle that you always see in a movie or a show, where someone is backing up, and then someone's backing up, they're halfway through a sentence, and then boom, hit by like a bus or something. That ain't gonna happen. There's no buses ever go through here. I'll get hit by a regular car. I'll be sitting in the hospital, full body cast, and be like, at least I wasn't stuck in this awkward conversation that I didn't know how to get out of. So, those two things together, hey, the hot sauce will be a cakewalk, right? All right, let's go ahead and try this out. Then we'll talk about some upcoming Cinema Snob stuff. I am never steered wrong with the Pepper Palace hot sauces. I miss going to we do have a Pepper Palace here. We have a Pepper Palace in one of our malls, but I also miss going to MagFest, that convention. Fun ass con anyway. But they also have a Pepper Palace right there, and I would always like stock up and bring hot sauces back. Hey, did you buy any video game stuff? No, I got these hot sauces, man. That's always what happens. At C2E2, I did buy this because I wore a sweater that was way too hot and needed to go ahead and buy another shirt so I could be comfortable, not be sweating my ass off at the table. And I also went to the hot sauce table and brought some of those back. So, okay. I do have chips right here. Some of you have probably been patiently waiting. The people who conveniently, and this is cool. I do like it when people do this in the comments, where they're like, he tries the product at this point. Was it 19 minutes and 30 seconds in as I'm looking at the thing? Okay. 19, 30, 35, 36. All right, let me set this here real quick. got a decent amount on there because it's a pretty big opening on the bottle. It's not one of the tiny openings. It's one of the bigger ones. They want you to burn the hell out of your mouth. Okay, so this is a decent size on there. Let's go ahead and see what the Smokin Reaper is like. Dude. I've never done this with a microphone before. Can you hear the sizzling? Damn, man. Let me sip that because I'm going to need more. Maybe I should have filled this up. It's tool time though. Real men don't fill up the thermos of milk. Oh, God. Help me out, salt on this chip. So, it's spicier than the wings. It's even spicier than the next day when I heated up the wings. Oh, God. What would it be like if I stuck this in the microwave? Would it get hotter? Damn. Maybe I put too much on the chip. Or, in terms of entertainment value on a video, I put the right amount on the chip. Oh. Yeah, someone took the words right out of my mouth. Minus the steam and the fire, gonna be a long night on the can. But it's all based in my mouth. It's not... It is centralized. Like, it isn't... I'm not feeling it here or down here yet before the cap cramps come in. And the fire hole where you just want to jam a rag up there. God, I mean, collect my thoughts. Okay. It is all in here. But it's a good smoky flavor. It is. I mean, it isn't just simply, the Smokin Reaper, hey, that seems like a hot sauce name, slap it on there. No, it is smoky. It's thin. It's a thin hot sauce. It's a bit thinner than the Mr. Payne. But with its smokiness, kind of like with Mr. Payne, where whenever I make a big pan of chili or something, put some Mr. Payne in there, mix it together, kicks it up. It's a nice flavor. This is the same with that. This is like I could mix this into, like, again, thing of chili, give it a nice smokier flavor. It'd be really good mixed in with some barbecue sauce, too. Oh, man. Next time I make a nice barbecue for me and Laura. Hang on, you'll excuse me. My tears are on my glasses. Oh. Sure. It's not like 1,000,000 Scovilles or something like that. It's not the one chip challenge. It's still spicy. This is the reaction that the way that I know you didn't see the rest of that Dave Thomas commercial, but the guy, when Dave Thomas gives his spicy chicken sandwich to that mafia guy sitting there, the guy who runs the Shelbyville power plant sitting there across from Dave Thomas. When that guy tries Dave's sandwich, that guy's reacting like me. Like, tears, faces red, sweating and everything. The Wendy's chicken sandwich isn't that spicy. It's good. It is really good. But it ain't that spicy. That Dave Thomas put the Smokin Reaper on there. Poor man. And then it ends with Dave offering the guy a water because he's being an ass. He knows that water is going to make it worse. Well, I don't have water in here. Again, I need to save this. I might be going back to it for the rest of this episode. Okay, well, I think I've made up for my mistake last week in saying that the wings, what did I have? Now I've got spicy brain. I already have brain fog anyway. Now I got spicy brain, where it turns your glasses into any Skinamax comedy where the nerdy guy sees a hot chick walking across. Woo-hoo-hoo. Did a hot girl just walk by? No, it's had the Smokin Reaper, man. Ooh. Anyway, I like it. I recommend it. It's good. You mix this in with some other sauces. It's good. In the future, I'll try the other ones I got in here. The other ones I have in here, that is the something scorpion and the Trace Diablos. Oh, it's got Diablos in it. That definitely means it's spicy. That's when you know it's a spicy sauce, if it's got the words Reaper or Scorpion or ass. Those are the three words that you know you're going to be dealing with something very, very spicy. Okay. I know some of you have probably been wishing I'd get to the Tox box for the Cinema Snob choices. But first, let's go ahead and talk about what we've got over on Patreon in terms of snob episodes and early viewing on some stuff. Here we go. I did just post this up this morning, I think. Yeah. Oh, there it says 12 hours ago. Okay. Time stopped for me after the Smokin Reaper. You ever want to see Ronald Reagan as Indiana Jones, or an Indiana Jones prototype, basically? Well, the movie Hong Kong, a.k.a. Bombs Over China, we've got that over on Patreon right now for early viewing. I had a lot of fun doing that episode, by the way. The movie itself, it's very like a lot of his movies are that kind of studio, lower budget, B picture. Like a lot of, they kind of are what they are. Very by the numbers, straightforward plot, straightforward characters, point A to point B situations. It's certainly like that, but I did have fun with it because I don't get to do movies like that very often. So I got to put a lot of It was hard not doing a presidential Reagan impression, because Reagan the president, Reagan the actor, two different kinds of impressions. With the president, President Reagan he sounds a lot older because he was an old man then, sounded very grandfatherly. But then you get into actor Reagan. Well, it's moving the head up a little bit like that, smirking, got that old-timey acting in there, a little hammy, certainly, and got to act like you're about to shoot the bad guy, grab your best girl, and smoke yourself a Chesterfield. That's more so the Reagan we're getting when he's playing not Indiana Jones, but Jeff Williams, which I think might be Mutt Williams' real father. I think that is how I'm connecting the Reagan adventurer movie Bombs Over China, a.k.a. Hong Kong, with the Indiana Jones universe. He is actually Mutt Williams' father. And it's a Reagan movie, too, so it's not even a minute into the movie that the word commie is used. I'm not exaggerating. You'll see it in the episode, or you can see it in the episode right now over at Patreon. It's early viewing over there. That episode should be up on Monday. We've also got some other early viewings on there. I'm editing the August portion of 83 in film right now. So the first 7 months of 1983 in film, which has got to be well over a couple hours of footage right now. Those are also up there on Patreon. I've been releasing them by beforehand, I would release them in like each part would be a couple months worth. Now it's like 1983, January, February, March. I got it split up by months. That actually does make it a lot easier for me when I'm piecing them all together by the time they're done. So now you saw the pictures over there, like Staying Alive, Trading Places, Crow, War Games, all those. What you don't see, though, is all the ones that I didn't show pictures of, which is a ton of... 1983 had a ton of fantasy films. I mean, Krull was pictured there. Krull is, in just a 2-month span, Krull is maybe one of, like, 20 fantasy films. Sometimes comedies, sometimes animated, sometimes Krull, or... Yor is one of them. There's a lot of 3D movies too. I'm editing earlier. Just did the portion on The Man Who Wasn't There 3D, the Steve Guttenberg one, and it is funny because as much as it's fun to talk about Smokey and the Bandit 3, that's in the August portion. It's still probably not the worst sequel of that month. That same month is the month that Boogeyman 2 came out. And 1983 was a bad year for sequels. 1983 is a very fun year for movies. Bad year for sequels. Different kinds of bad sequels, too. Some borderline unwatchable, like Boogeyman 2 or Smoking the Bandit 3. Some fun bad sequels, like Staying Alive and... I'm forgetting something. Jaws 3D. Jaws 3D is entertaining. And then the ones that's good is like Psycho 2. It's very underrated. Psycho 2 is an excellent sequel and is probably the only good sequel in 1983, unless you count the third part in the trilogy, because that's when Return of the Jedi came out in 1983. So those are right now up for early viewing over on Patreon. Now, normally, in fact, I was planning on doing another Tox box right now until like yesterday or the day before. The reason why is, okay, Monday, the Reagan Indiana Jones episode will be up. Turns out I'm not reaching for my milk to drink some more. I got a runny nose because of the hot sauce, so excuse me, I might actually be wiping my nose quite a bit during this. I'm in the final stretch of 1983 in film. So Monday, the Reagan one will come out, and then the following Monday, what I'll probably do is do an extra live stream instead of having a Snob episode up that Monday, because I'm in the final stretch for 83. So I'm like, okay, I can afford myself an extra couple of days in not doing a Snob episode till 83 is done. Basically, if I kept to the schedule right now, it would be maybe 4 weeks probably that it would take for me to finish 1983. And so if I take that following Monday, be like, okay, I'll do an extra live stream instead. I can get 1983 done a lot quicker, and I do want to get it done a lot quicker. I'm having a blast doing it. It's very fun doing these year episodes, but let's see, the baby is due in October. We've been having more appointments. Certainly, I'm like, I want 1983 to be done sooner the better, before the third trimester and everything. So. And I'm going to miss these posters behind me, too. I'll put these posters up over on the store. I know over at thecinemasnob.com right now there is the collection of 1961 posters that I had. It's like a whole bundle. I signed all of them. That's over on the cinemasnob.com store right now. I'll do the same. With these. And then I will start 1962 in film. It's like I'm in the final stretch of 83, gonna get it done. Then start 1962 in film. Actually, that's easy. There's far less movies released per month in the 60s, so it's a little easier to get through the 60s ones than the 80s ones. Although the last couple months of 1983, meaning the last couple months that I edited, like June 83, July 83, there weren't that many movies because not that many studios wanted to compete with the Return of the Jedi that was out in May that year. So there were not as many movies during the summer. There was a handful, but not as many. And the movies that were out in the summer, half of those trailers have sci-fi or Star Wars references in them, even if they're not science fiction at all. There's a movie, it's an underrated movie. It's called Get Crazy, directed by Alan Arkush. It's kind of it's an ensemble sort of, like you could watch it along with his other movie, Rock and Roll High School. It's this New Year's Eve party movie, and there's this concert going on. Malcolm McDowell is in it. Shenanigans happen. The opening of the trailer is like parodies the opening of Star Wars with the ship coming through. There's some others too that will just have like laser sound effects and stuff like that in the trailer. Again, even if the movies aren't sci-fi at all. Star Wars is out this summer. Put something sci-fi in the movie or in the trailer. Okay. Now I guess we can go ahead and get to the sorry, I got raspy hot sauce voice. Okay, let's go ahead and get to the super chat questions and comments. I know we got a handful of them in there. Been seeing they light up and I see them out of the corner of my eye. Okay, here we go. All right, now this one came in here before we even started going live. That warms my heart when someone I check in here throughout the day and see people chatting with each other, and that's always really cool that people are hanging out with each other in here like well before we go live. So this is from Drunken Buddha, who says, next Brad tries will be Brad tries Pizza Hut's pickle pizza. Who puts pickles on a pizza? He's starting a stand-up routine right there. I checked it. I read that and was like, does Pizza Hut, are they selling a pickle pizza right now? They got rid of their anchovies, but I'm sure they did that because I was probably the only one who ordered anchovies from them. They replaced it with pickle. I clicked on Pizza Hut. I didn't see anything about pickle pizza on the cover or on the homepage of Pizza Hut. But I guess they got a cheesesteak pizza there now. Sorry. It's there. I have to eat it. They got a cheesesteak, and I love Domino's cheesesteak pizza. So I'm like, maybe I'll order the pizza. I don't think I'll do a video on it, but just for myself, maybe I'll order that. Pizza Hut needs to bring back the triple-decker pizza. They brought back the Edge. They brought back the New Yorker. Bring back the triple-decker. I'm keeping my eye out because DiGiorno has a pizza right now that's basically the triple-decker pizza. I'm keeping my eye out for that. So I go, Laura has no interest in it. So I'm like, next time Jared comes over for midnight screenings, I'll be like, we're having DiGiorno's triple-decker pizza. Eclectic Ennui says, oh, this is a good question. Have you ever been out walking and encountered people filming a movie or a TV show? I have. In 2004, I lived in Long Beach, California. Not that long, just a little bit. And there was one day I was walking over around Broadway, near like 2nd and Broadway or something. Not far from where I was, like a block away from where I was living. And there was like this whole like camera crew TV show setup and everything. I'm standing there looking, going, what's going on here? They were filming an episode, again, this is 2004. They were filming an episode of Joan of Arcadia. I've never seen the show. I know what the show is. I just didn't watch it. I should look for this scene, maybe. It was a scene where I think there's like a guy on the show who is like an angel or he's God or something, and he's often like maybe a different profession. And so in this, she's standing at like I think it was like a sunglasses hut. She's standing like near this like outdoor sunglasses stand or something, talking to the guy who's working there, and I think he's supposed to be an angel or something like that. Anyway, if you can find that scene, I'm not in the shot, but I'm there, like 10 feet from it, maybe even closer. I'm not sure, but yeah, that happened when I lived in Long Beach. I was walking through New York one time, and I was out there visiting some friends, and was going somewhere, meeting up with some people or something. I hit the subway, got out of the subway, and there was like a documentary that was being filmed, and I was actually in it, or I was interviewed for it. I don't know what happened to this, if it's still if it aired anywhere, if they showed it anywhere, if this was an internet thing, if it was a student film, I'm not sure. But it was about the Care Bears. So these filmmakers came up to me. They said, "Hey, can we ask you a question about the Care Bears?" I'm like, sure. I would have said yes to anything, probably. Especially if I was on 42nd Street in the early 80s for that joke to make sense. Anyway, so they asked, I was on camera, they asked me about the Care Bears, like what were my memories of the Care Bears when I was a kid. I think I remembered saying like, oh, my cousin was really into them. You know, we had the books, and the books on the little kids book that also came with like an audio cassette you listen along with it. It was the one where the Care Bears are helping out the girl who has like a really bratty like 2-year-old brother who's like messing up shit, and I think he throws cereal at her or something. And then the Care Bears help her. Like, I was talking about that, and then the interview ended. It was very brief. The interview ended, and the guy, I go, "So what's this for?" And the guy's just like, "It's for the Care Bears, man." Yeah, that's what I meant by that question. I take it you're really into the Care Bears. Yes. Dude, intense. So, yeah, I don't know what came of this. I don't know if it was a student film or what, but I was in it. If you find some Care Bears documentary that was made in New York, I don't know if they kept my footage or not, because I don't think I was giving answers that were that deep. Compared to what, again, the way this guy was talking, I think he wanted some very deep responses. I don't know if I'm in this thing or not, but those two, I was, I happened across those. Other things would have been just stuff I was either in or it was an extra or something. There was Legally Blonde 2 was filmed in Springfield. I'm from Springfield, Illinois. And Legally Blonde 2, at least when it's the inside of the Capitol scenes, that's filmed inside of the Capitol building in Springfield. Because I guess of all the Capitol buildings in the country, the inside of the one in Springfield looks the most similar to the one in D.C. So that was shot over in Springfield. I'm not in it, but I know some people who are extras in it. Danny McGraw goes, "Hello, Brad. Who's your favorite Sesame Street character?" Mine's Grover. Also, I'm not saying that. He said that. Don't put that on me. No, I like Grover. My favorite, though, Cookie Monster. He's the one who... I have a show where I'm eating shit. Of course, Cookie Monster is my favorite. This painting right here that fell off the wall and broke. Oops. And broke again. It's like Cookie Monster. It's clearly because I tried eating it. I forgot about his cautionary tale, don't eat the pictures. Right. Don't eat the pictures. There might be some, like, Egyptian godchild living in it or something. That's the plot of that special, by the way. I didn't just pull that out of my ass. That's the plot of Sesame Street's Don't Eat the Pictures. They get trapped in the museum where I guess the employees were expecting monsters because there's a sign that says don't eat the pictures because Cookie Monster wants to eat the painting that has fruit. And then they're locked inside of the museum because Big Bird gets lost and there was Snuffleupagus. Then they happen upon an Egyptian child who's actually thousands of years old who roams the museum, and he also has a cat too, and he wants to get back home. So he turns into stars at the end. Spoiler alert, so does his cat. They both become stars at the end of it. And then And then they find, and then Big Bird finds Maria and David, all them at the end of it. And they're like, Maria like hits him, is like, where were you? And he's like, no, I found this Egyptian godchild. And they're like, oh, sure you did, Big Bird. Like, they don't believe him at the end of it. They think that he just like was smoking pot with Paul Dooley as the security guard by the end of it. I think it was Paul Dooley who played this. There was a security guard in it who was basically the equivalent of the security guard in Mannequin, the G.W. Bailey character. But I think it was Paul Dooley. Was it Paul Dooley? Who was it? It's been a while since I've seen it. I'm sure it's on YouTube. But anyway, Cookie Monster is my answer. One of my favorite parts in Follow That Bird is when he's eating Gordon's car slowly but surely throughout the movie, to where at the end they have to push it back to Sesame Street. Oh, he also goes, favorite Muppet. His favorite is Rolf. Mine, as you can tell, I'm ADHD as shit, so I guess Animal. Eclectic NUE again goes, according to IMDb, your favorite actor is Nick Cage. Well, if IMDb says it, he's one of my favorite actors. Him, Stallone, Travolta, Schwarzenegger, like, oh yeah, Nicholson, of course. Yeah, he's one of my favorite actors. What's my favorite film that he's in? Oh, my favorite Nick. You know, it all depends. It depends on what kind of Nick Cage movie you're in the mood for. His best, probably, I love Bringing Out the Dead. Bringing Out the Dead's great. Leaving Las Vegas is, of course, great. The ones that I could put on any time would be like Raising Arizona. That's one I could put on like any day of the week and just have a great time and laugh my ass off at it. Face Off is great. A lot of the over the top ones are certainly great. I like Vampire's Kiss. Yeah, probably Raising Arizona. Yeah. That's the one I would probably go back to the most, would be Raising Arizona, just off the top of my head. River Acheron says, I have nothing witty to say yet. Me neither. I haven't said a single... We've been going for 47 minutes right now. I haven't said a single witty thing yet. I've just reacted to Hot Sauce and gone on tangents about Cookie Monster eating paintings. That'll be the time code at the bottom of this. 47 minutes in, he still hasn't said something witty. Just want to send my support as someone who's been here since the beginning. Thank you so much. I do love hearing from people who have been here that long, since the days where I sat on the floor in a basement against a wood paneled wall, had hair on my head, not so much on my face, had a bit more of a belly, bit bigger of a face. I was drinking a lot back then. No, I love it that people have stick around that long. Thank you very much for that, by the way, too. I hope you're here much longer after that. Cody Bishop goes, hey, Brad, when the snob gets sassy or annoyed, I find it hilarious. He put a question mark there, by the way. He goes, when the snob gets sassy or annoyed, I find it hilarious. Is there something wrong with me? You seem pissed at like Nuki and To Catch a Yeti. Should I really be laughing at this? You seem miserable. Does this make me a sadist? Yes. That makes me a sadomasochist watching it. All right, he goes, what about a movie causes you to make the snob to get snippy? Thanks for the laughs. Oh, thanks for the crying emoji, as he put. Good question. I mean, I guess it depends on what era I was writing during, because certainly when I was writing episodes like Nuki and To Catch a Yeti, this kind of show was a lot more animated in terms of the... in terms of the insults he'd throw out about the movie, in terms of the pissed reactions and all that. And there's still certainly episodes where that'll be the case. I mean, maybe it's far few in between now, just because of how much the show's evolved. Like at the very, very, very beginning of the show, it was a lot drier. I mean, granted, I was still kind of trying to figure out my voice for the character. I in terms of playing like a comedic character, because a lot of the acting I'd done before then was all like drama, and I was usually playing a bad guy in them. So certainly had to find my comedic voice quite a bit. So the early Snob, it's very dry, and like this. I don't like this movie, and then. He'd get like a little shoutier too. The insults would be very colorful, and that was just kind of the genre then. Now it's certainly like more analytical, which I do like that. Like these past few years, handful of years. I mean, I've always loved writing for the show, but it's my favorite when I can actually be more real about the movie while still keeping that very snarky, cynical voice of the character, but definitely infusing like my own thoughts about the movie, just written from the point of view of this character. So when he gets a bit sassier or angrier now, it's because it might be something that it's genuinely a movie I don't like. or I just think it works for the movie. I wish I could think off the top. Okay, the movie Matilda, the one about the boxing kangaroo. I loved that episode. That was an endless source of material doing that episode. That I probably did have. I don't know if I made the character mad during it, because I wasn't mad when I was watching it. I had a great time watching that weirdly terrible movie. I had a great time watching it, but it is the kind of movie that lends itself to a character like the Snob having maybe a shoutier reaction to it. I wish I could remember off the top of my head what's the last one that I had him get mad at, because it hasn't been a lot lately, because lately it's been stuff it's cool, like Phantasm I put up a few days ago. Phantasm, Revenge of the Ninja. I'm not that huge into Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, but I don't remember making the character mad necessarily. It's just, when you do a show like that for so long, like, Jesus, this is 16, 17 years I've been doing this, you can see what the climate was like in terms of that kind of comedic movie review. Like, you can go to an episode 10 years ago and be like, oh, that's just kind of what it was like back then writing a show like that. And you can say that about now, looking at it now, going like, oh yeah, it's certainly more, it talks about the ups, downs of these movies, what works, what doesn't. It is a bit more analytical. Like, I do like that. I do like that. Without making it pretentious. Unless it's, tongue-in-cheek pretentious. Because it's called The Cinema Snob, by the way. So, like, tongue-in-cheek, that'll always kind of be there with the character. Bronson Wright Wolf goes, I like Michael J. Fox's Stuart Little. Other than yeah, I know the answer to this. Other than Back to the Future, what's your favorite Michael J. Fox movie? You ever see The Hard Way? It's a buddy action comedy that Michael J. Fox did with James Woods. I saw this in the theater. I love this movie, man, because Michael J. Fox plays an actor in it, and he's really trying to get this cop role in it, a role that he's trying to like beat out Mel Gibson for, I think. So he wants to do some research on being a tough, gritty cop. So he partners along with, hard drinking, hard smoking, hard ass James Woods, homicide detective, and they're and you would think like that the case they're solving is like, oh, maybe it's something like Kinda Light or B movie in a way, like, oh, maybe like a gang or some drug runners or something. No, it's the person they're after in it is a straight up serial killer called the Party Crasher, played by Stephen Lang. It might be the first movie I saw Stephen Lang in. I think it's the first. it might be the first one where he's really buffed out, because he had a total body transformation. You look at him in Manhunter, where he's a bit pudgier, different hair and everything, and then look at him like in The Hard Way to now, it's like looking at Michael Chiklis in The Commish and then going to The Shield, like. So The Hard Way is great. It's a lot of fun. Michael J. Fox and James Woods have really good chemistry with each other. They're very, very fun in the film. It's totally underrated. You should check that one out. Yeah, that one. That was always one of my favorite Michael J. Fox movies. ZNEP 27. You need to try some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pies. Yeah, we watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia as well. We watched that new episode the other day where Charlie got the old turtle pies that he ordered, and they were old, so they were nasty, but he was eating them anyway. Laura asked me, like, maybe Laura said the same thing you did. Hey, maybe you should try some of those. Yeah, maybe I should. I was talking earlier, I need to do some more old stuff, so yeah, maybe I will. Look and see if I can find those. Cracking me up goes, have you considered visiting or doing a con in Seattle? I almost did. If I get invited to one, absolutely. No, wait, it wasn't Seattle. It was another Northwest city, though. One time this was when I was signed up with Wizard World. Like I was on their circuit one year, and I was supposed to be in Oregon, I think, but there was some kind of flight mix-up or something like that with management there, where they said something like, well, we kind of made this mistake. I mean, we could still send you there, but it's gonna, like, they were putting it in a way where they wanted me to say, like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll just sign me up for like 2 extra ones. And so I did say that. And they were like, oh, thank you. Oh my God. So yeah, I almost did one up there, but I haven't since. But again, if I get invited to one, absolutely. Bronson Wright Wolf goes, have you seen The Haunted Mansion? I actually haven't. The Eddie Murphy one. There's a lot of those Eddie Kids movies I haven't seen. I mean, I've seen a few, and not a lot of them were good. Just like that era where I'm kind of like, I'll stick with 48 Hours, Trading Places, and Beverly Hills Cop. I don't know about this. And if I want to go to like 90s Eddie Murphy, which I think that movie's early 2000s, but 90s Eddie Murphy, Metro is underrated. That's a good one. I like Nutty Professor, but Haunted Mansion I didn't see. So yeah, he asked what my thoughts are on Eddie in a haunted house. I don't know. I didn't see it. But then he goes, what are your thoughts on Vampire in Brooklyn? That movie's kind of a tonal mess, but it's still sort of great. Like, it is great seeing like Eddie in a very dark comedy like that, where sometimes it's horror, sometimes it's comedy, and a lot of times, of course, horror comedies work together. This is one where the tones were kind of fighting each other, because I think I heard Eddie and Wes Craven were they had different ideas of the movie, or it was actually Wes Craven who wanted it to be more of a comedy, and Eddie didn't. I think that's how it goes. Double Toasted's got a funny review of it. But no, I actually kind of like Vampire in Brooklyn. Been a while since I've seen it, but I remember thinking it was alright. Easy E726. I like to use the phone to hear and pretend I'm talking to someone when I walk by those people. You know what? I will. Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you were talking about it in general. Like, you're just like telling me this. Like it's one of those too much information commercials from State Farm. I see what you're saying. Earlier in the show, I was talking about the people collecting for monthly donation things out there. And so I like crossed the street and everything, like before I should be crossing the street, so I don't get stuck in this conversation. He's saying he uses his phone to pretend he's talking. Why didn't I think of that? Yeah, I will start doing that. I didn't go immediately to just pretend to be talking on the phone. I went to let's dart out in traffic to avoid them. I do play a lot of Frogger. Maybe it's, when in doubt, for your stupid decisions, blame Frogger. Okay. Have any of your... Matt Florent says, have any of your videos been retroactively demonetized? And if so, what are some? Oh, yeah. That happens. That happens to all of us. When YouTube, like, kind of changes their rules and everything, stuff will get retroactively, like, hit with limited ads or hit with 18+. It does. Especially the raunchier ones. The more graphic ones, those do. That's why it's harder now to, for lack of a better word, to do a porn parody episode. I can, and I have, like, I just did the Hornio Brothers one. You can still do an episode like that. One, it depends on the title. If the title is, like, really suggestive, it'd be hard to do. But if there's one where you can edit around it a good amount, then, like, Super Hornio Brothers, then sure, yeah, that one could go up there. But there are ones, especially the way some of the older ones were edited, that it'd be hard to do nowadays. So, yeah, it happens. Some of the Giallo ones have, again, if they're a bit more gory than I would probably show now, it does. It happens to all of us. Bronson Wright Wolf goes, have you seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and Last Detail? Oh, yeah. Have you? Jack is clearly one of my favorite actors. Have you seen any performance I've given in it? I'm not intending to do a Jack Nicholson like style performance in some of the stuff I had acted in. I guess I just have that look and delivery. And he is a much. By the way, I am not saying that my performance in every movie I've ever been in is on par with a Jack Nicholson performance. I'm just saying it sometimes it sounds like I'm doing a Jack Nicholson impression, even though I'm not. That's just how I talk. But again, I grew up on Jack movies, so subconsciously, it's probably intending to be that a little bit. Or it's just how I sound and how my eyebrows are a little bit. Oh, yeah, I love One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Last Detail are great. Last Detail is awesome because the colorful vulgarity in it is an art form, how much they cuss in that movie. Yeah, it's at the end. Jack Nicholson is in both of them, by the way. Oh, those Cuckoo's Nest and Last Detail movies. I'm just joshing. No, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is both of them are fantastic. Cuckoo's Nest I've seen more, but no, Last Detail again. That's worth checking out if you haven't seen it. Bronson Wright Wolf, what is your favorite Johnny Depp Tim Burton movie? Of their collaborations that he says. Ed Wood. Definitely. It's even like them not taking collaboration out of it. That's just one of the best Tim Burton movies anyway, and it's one of the best Johnny Depp movies anyway. It's just a great movie about independent filmmaking in general. It's great as a biopic. It's great at kind of capturing the spirit of the types of movies that Ed Wood would make while making it a great film. I love it. Oh yeah, that's totally their best one. River Acheron, thank you for your years of content. This is the least I can do. Thank you for. You're very awesome. You're very. One, I love that you hang out in the chat to begin with. You know, I love that you've been watching us all these years, and it means a lot just watching, being in the chat, and everything. Thank you so much. Would you ever do a video with the Angry Video Game Nerd, given his love of horror movies? I would love to see that one day. Have you ever talked to him? Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've done conventions together. We've gone, like, those of us here on Channel Awesome have gone on trips out there where he lives and everything. Like, oh, yeah, we've hung out quite a bit. We've been in a few videos together. Panels we've done. We're both in... I forget which video it is. it's one of Doug's episodes where it cuts to me and James like trapped in a hotel, locked in a hotel room. Was it one of the Transformers reviews? He and I had a cameo in that. That was from 2016, I think. And we both I've been on his podcast, the Cinemassacre podcast. I've been on an episode of that where he and I were both like dead tired. we were really tired because it was this was during a convention, and it was like a Saturday after a convention, so we're both really tired, and we did a episode of the podcast. So we were actually kind of glad a couple of the other guys were carrying it a bit because we were exhausted from the convention, and his band was performing there too. So yeah, we were all just beat. And he and I, we're both big Rocky guys too. So we're walking through Philadelphia, and he at the time he didn't know I was as big of a Rocky and Stallone fan as I am. So he kind of just instinctively pointed out like, "Oh, over there, that's the store where in Rocky 2 where he bought his jacket." And immediately I'm like, I'm like, right over there. Dude, can we go over there and like take a picture? And he's immediately like, his face like lights up like, absolutely we can. So yeah, we were just talking like Rocky shit all day and like looking at sites where different things were filmed, just talking some. Hey man, I love it. I just love talking Rocky. Like when me and Walter get together, we also talk a lot of Rocky and Stallone. Things aren't as spicy right now with the hot sauce, so now I feel okay just generally taking a sip of this. Jacob Matthew Crawford goes, "Evening, Brad." Evening. "The first film I have any memory of watching is Alfred Hitchcock's To Catch a Thief. What's the first film you remember seeing as a kid?" I honestly don't know, because as long as I can remember, and then from what my parents tell me, they just sat me in front of the TV and I instantly became a movie and sitcom and primetime television drama fan. According to them, the first movie that I saw in theaters was E.T., but I was too young to remember. That movie came out in the 80s, so I was probably one when I went to go see it. And then on video, so I would have seen E.T. before Vacation, but National Lampoon's Vacation is one of the earliest movies I saw. Not really a memory of it necessarily, but maybe just enough of a memory. I mean, the movie I got memories of because I've seen that movie a ton of times. I've got the VHS right here that the camera is sitting on, along with a VHS of Manhattan and Star 80. All practically the same film. They're all in giant boxes. That means they're the same. But though, other than that, I've just, for as long as I can remember, I've just watched movies. So one specifically, I don't remember being the first that I saw. Eclectic Ennui goes, "Did you or..." Oh, well, this ties into something. "Did you or will you cover the Austrian serial killer film Angst in the 83 episode?" It's in there. I do talk about it in there. It's in one of the earlier parts of it. I think it is, at least, because it feels like when I edited that part of it, it was a while ago. So I think it's in one of the earlier months of 1983 in film. But that's a good movie. Like, in the comment, he compares it to Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. Good comparison. They're both, yeah, I would say you could make it a double feature, but what a night that would be. Like, why would you? If you're having a double feature of those and you're choosing to, I'm assuming you have a lot in common with the two characters in it. And I hope you're watching them both by yourself and no one is in there with you that you will later have to stuff into a trunk. No, it's a disturbing flick. Yeah, I do talk about it in the 1983 episode. Bronson Wright Wolf goes, "I've seen a couple pictures of Ozzy Osbourne and Tony Fields doing a photo shoot for Trick or Treat. They were holding Ozzy's album, The Ultimate Sin." Yes, but were they holding a signed picture of Skippy from Family Ties? Because he's the real lead in that film. Oh, that's cool. I'll have to look that up. Bronson Right Wolf goes, oh, sorry. I thought you had, oh, you do have another one. There's another one right before your other question. Campbellzilla, what's your limit when it comes to Brad tries, and what food or drink will you not try for whatever reason? I don't know if there's something I'm not trying. It might be because it'd kill me or something, like, or something. Hospital's fine. Death, man, I don't know if I'm ready to do that yet. Is it, if I drink the rust in that beer, will it kill me? Well, no, but you won't be doing much else. Well, I heard no on the first part, so I'll take it. No, I don't know if there's one. Just depends on what it is. If there's something I'm saying no to, it's not because I think I'll get sick. It's because it might just be something that I don't think would be that interesting of an episode, or it's something that I don't know if I'd have a lot to say about it, because it doesn't have to be something I dislike. In fact, I like a lot of the stuff that I feature on here. It just comes down to if I have a decent amount of stuff to say about it. Like, I did the Big New Yorker pizza. Sure, it's just a big pizza from Pizza Hut, but I have a decent amount to say about it, because just remembering when it originally came out, showing the Fran Drescher commercial for it, then talking about stuff like the Edge pizza, the triple decker that, again, I hope they still bring back. So I had enough to talk about for a little video. That's really what it sort of comes down to in picking stuff. Okay, Bronson Right Wolf. What's your favorite Robin Williams movie? And what's your least favorite Robin Williams movie? Favorite? Oh, I do love Popeye. That's a good one. Just a cool looking movie. Great sets. Great, brilliant casting. Great songs. I like that one a lot. I've seen Mrs. Doubtfire a lot. That's a classic. Aladdin. Oh, I love Aladdin. Of the Disney Renaissance, Aladdin was the one I watched the most. Of his dramas, Insomnia is really good. 1 Hour Photo is really good. I love Death to Smoochie. Just that weird, messed up look at like children's entertainment back then, just through a real dark comedy. It's great. Death to Smoochie's awesome. Those, yeah. Least favorite? Flubber's not good. Yeah, Flubber's not very good. I talk about The Survivors a little bit in 1983. I remember that one not being great. I don't know if I'd call that least favorite, but Popeye's a better early 80s Robin Williams movie. Least favorite? Old Dogs. Yeah. Old Dogs. Where there's like a rumor it was shot as an R-rated movie and they edited it down to a PG-13 when they saw the R rating didn't work. I don't know how true that is, but that movie is such a mess in terms of plot and any kind of flow or structure that it sort of makes sense it's hacked as shit. Ooh, that's also, and you know how much I love John Travolta. He's one of my favorite actors. Travolta's one of those guys who made me want to be an actor. Like, that's how much I love John Travolta. That's one of my least favorites of his too. But yeah, Old Dogs. I'll say Old Dogs is the worst. Campbellzilla. Outside of Friday the 13th 3, what's your favorite 3D film from that short-lived 80s 3D? Ooh, good timing on that particular question, because I'm in the middle of in 1983 in film. 82 and 83 have a lot of 3D movies. My favorite is Friday the 13th 3D. Coming At You is a really good one. Coming At You is cool because it's a cool, like, Italian style Western where it's played pretty straight. But they're really creative with their shots in that, in really taking advantage of the 3D. Space Hunter's fun. Metal Storm's fun. Amityville 3D is not very good, except for that one scene with Lori Loughlin after she falls in the water. That scene was creepy. Other than that, it's not, I don't remember it being that good. But I love that 80s 3D era. I do, because they took advantage of they're giving you they're giving you a good time at the theater, and they're throwing a bunch of shit at the screen. Some of it works better than other ones. Friday the 13th 3D is a lot of fun. Man Who Wasn't There 3D, same producer by the way, Frank Mancuso Jr. Doesn't work quite as well as Friday the 13th 3D. There's Parasite too. I love that era, that short-lived little era where you're watching an early 80s movie. If it's an 80s movie and it's in 3D. So we talk about a lot of those in 1983 in film. Eclectic Ennui. Cormac McCarthy sadly passed away. I did see that. What would you say? Would you say that No Country for Old Men is the best film adaptation of his work? That's a good question for Dave. Dave's read most of his stuff. So in comparing adaptation, like what's the more accurate adaptation, I couldn't tell you between that and like The Road. But of those two movies, they're both great movies. Of those two, I've seen No Country for Old Men more. So yeah, I'd probably go ahead and say that. River Acheron goes, can you give us any background on Fun in Balloon Land? One of the funniest snob episodes. How did you find that? It's the de facto episode I show to my friends to get them into you. That is one where, yeah, that's a popular episode I did. Fun. I just happened to come across it. I found it in a suggestion tab where it might have been on a Nuki page or To Catch a Yeti, where there's always that area that says, if you watch this, watch this. And if you're watching Nuki, naturally they're recommending Fun in Balloon Land. And I just saw like a single shot of it. It was one of the shots with like the Sea King and the kid. And I was like, that looks horrific, and I got to watch it and do an episode on it. As for background on like the filmmakers, I mean, it seems like it was made as like a commercial for that balloon company, of course, which I doubt is still around. And maybe they got some perks by also filming the parade, or maybe that's how they got their equipment. Be like, oh yeah, we'll film this parade and also do this creepy ass movie with these balloons. Oh man, if anyone is involved with that movie is still alive, they need to be interviewed immediately. Campbellzilla goes, oh, well, thank you. The message from MH We Eat Nation was redacted, so I don't know what it said, but thank you for the super chat nonetheless. Campbellzilla goes, have you seen any of the Billy Jack movies? Would you ever give them the shock treatment? The shock treatment. Would you ever get shock treatment while watching it? Well, that would be the best way to get through Billy Jack Goes to Washington, is to have electric shocks to your head. Yeah, I would absolutely. The only reason I haven't is those sequels are really long. There's Trial of Billy Jack, which is the second one, I think, unless you count the first Billy Jack appearance. There's that one where he was a supporting Born Losers, then Billy Jack, Trial, and then Goes to Washington. I've thought about doing those for a long time, and eventually I will. Maybe I'll add them to the Tox box. Eventually I will. But the only reason I haven't is because of the length. But I really should do the Billy Jack movies. Bronson Wright Wolf, what are your thoughts on Adam Sandler and Jack Nicholson in Anger Management? I didn't like that movie. I mean, it's Jack, so of course Jack is always great. And, it was gimmicky having he and Adam Sandler in a movie playing off each other. The concept is fine. I just didn't care that. I've only seen it once. Maybe if I saw it again, maybe I would like it a little bit better. But at the time, I remember it ending and going, well, that was just a silly comedy version of The Game. But I'd rather just watch The Game. I haven't seen the Charlie Sheen sitcom version, by the way. Okay, I'm starting to feel it in my voice a little bit, so go ahead and make this the last one. And I was hoping I could get into this anyway, so this works out. I was actually thinking about this a little bit. or the other day, I wanted to mention this on either this episode or the next one, so this works out. This is about Treat Williams. I loved Treat Williams. MH We Eat Nation goes, R.I.P. Treat Williams. If you don't know this, he sadly passed away in a motorcycle accident a couple days ago. And so I did want to talk about some of my favorite movies of his. And the super chat here says that his or hers is The Ritz and Hair. Hair's great. And The Ritz, I'm glad you mentioned The Ritz, because The Ritz is one of my favorites. Of the Treat Williams movies, The Ritz might be the one I've seen the most. I grew up watching that movie. We had a tape of it from like HBO or probably HBO from back in the day, and it was one that my parents loved. So that was my introduction to a lot of actors. That movie, I was so young when I saw that and grew up with it. It was my introduction to F. Murray Abraham, to Jack Weston, to Treat Williams, to Jerry Stiller as well. If you haven't seen The Ritz, it's this Richard Lester film based on the Broadway play. Rita Moreno is my introduction to Rita Moreno as well, who was phenomenal in the film. If you don't know the Broadway play or the movie, it's about a guy, this schlubby guy who got married into the mob. His wife or his brother-in-law is tied in with organized crime, and when his father-in-law passes away, the guy says, "I want you to kill him," referring to the Jack Weston character. So knowing he's now got these mobsters after him, he's like, what's the one place they won't find me for the night? So he hides out in this bathhouse. So it's this, wacky, zany bathhouse comedy. It's full of great dialogue and performances. I love it. It's outstanding. That's one of my favorite. Treat Williams is a private investigator in it with a high-pitched voice who goes in undercover, and there's such great writing and dialogue in the film. I actually showed it to Laura on my most recent birthday, and she really dug the hell out of it. So The Ritz is one. 1941. 1941, I love the hell out of. He's great in it. And he's kind of the antagonist of it. He's got a lot of great lines about not liking eggs, and his dance that he does in the movie too, his like really aggressive dance that he does in the movie too. Yeah, he's awesome in that. Dead Heat is great. Prince of the City is really underrated. It's kind of an early '80s Serpico. That one's good. I said I've seen all the sequels to The Substitute, but those aren't very. The third one was the third one all right? Yeah, the third one was all right. The second one wasn't very good, but the third one was okay. I know. Deep Rising's fun. That came out not too long after Titanic, where it was like, you want to see Titanic, but if it was hit with a giant octopus monster, well, here you go. Treat Williams and Famke Janssen in Deep Rising. Riding a jet ski through a ship as a monster is chasing him. It's really fun. Treat Williams was great. He was just a really, 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 really likable and excellent actor. He's one of those actors who he did really ooze this warmth and likability, especially when he'd be the highlight in something that otherwise might be kind of forgettable. Like, he did some Hallmark movies, some Christmas movies. There was one that we watched, The Christmas House, and it's decent. But he really does radiate this likability to him that you put him in like a Hallmark Christmas movie, which was already a decent one. It's not like it was one of the really bad ones, but he does elevate stuff that he's in, and he did that movie too. And I'll miss him. I followed him on social media and everything. I was a big Treat Williams fan, so it's just sad all around. But I hope that people check out The Ritz, 1941, Deep Rising, Prince of the City. I saw Prince of the City trending as well when he passed, so it's cool people are checking some of those out. Corey Sadler, love Clint Eastwood scowling over your shoulder. Oh yeah. Someone took a shot at him right there. He's probably got a one-liner set up. He's scowling along with Bronson right there, deciding between the two of them who's going to shoot the bad guy in the head at the end of it. It'll be Bronson, because in Sudden Impact, the guy falls on a carousel, on a carousel horn at the end of it. E-Rich's Pop Culture Collection. How did you find Miss Velma? Oh, that was because that was on a double DVD I had. It was a couple bootlegs that I had, and one on side one was Rocket's Your Decision. That was how I found that. And so the other part of it was Miss Velma, and I just kind of looked at the top. Miss Velma, what the hell was that? Just looking at 5 seconds of that, I was like, eventually I've got to do that as an episode of the Cinema Snob. And I did, and that and Fun in Balloon Land, those are two of the most popular ones. I still hope that someone unearths some more Miss Velma someday, because there is more. It was an Access television series, so I'm guessing they didn't hold on to the tapes, but if someone did, I hope those get unearthed. I heard there was a 9/11 episode that she did. Release the tapes. Jamie from Mars goes, I like this. Jamie. Oh, I get it now. Okay, I myself messed that up, right? Because I called you Jamie from Mars on a previous episode, but it's Jamie from Mass, and I still read it as Jamie from Mars. Even though, so at first I thought you were just simply telling me your name, but like, oh, you remembered that I messed that up a few weeks ago. People always keep me informed on my previous screw-ups, more so than I can keep up with. Jamie says, congrats on the baby news. Thank you so much. And we do have a name picked out, by the way. We do have a name picked out. I won't say it on this one, though. I'll save it for Sweeps Week. But thank you so much for watching, everyone. We'll go ahead and get on out of here. Thank you for the tons of great Super Chat questions. You know it's a good episode when I have a reaction to Hot Sauce and my voice is getting gravelly at the end of it. But I'll have a review coming up for The Flash. There is a new Indian movie coming out, too, that I'm going to try to see tomorrow as well. I'll have a full day at the theater tomorrow. Flash is like 2.5 hours. The Bollywood movie is like 3 hours. So I'm going to try to see them both. Both at different theaters, by the way. So, okay, we'll go ahead and get on out of here. Thanks again for watching. And check out the Cinema Snob episode on Phantasm. Support us on Patreon. Follow us over at the Cinema Snob on Twitter. And let's get that King Frat music in here. Take care. Have a great weekend.
King Frat. Come everybody, come and join the